Can we start with the team news, please, ahead of the weekend's game?
Well, of course we lost Thomas Rosicky for a longer period, and apart from that, Danny Welbeck is playing today in the under 21, and everybody else should be available.
You put Tuesday's draw down to poor finishing from Arsenal. There been extra shooting practice this week in training.
We have to prepare without being obsessed by that, and finishing is a bit, as I told you as well, cyclic, and I'm confident do we create the same number of chances we will score.
And for Bournemouth, Benicofoli's been in good form since he joined them. Someone you know all about, of course. How will Arsenal go about stopping him?
I think the best way to stop the opponent to be dangerous is just to have the ball and to dominate the game, and being aware that Benic is quick, sharp, strong as well, and has good movement in the box. And but we are used to face this kind of strikers in the Premier League, because in every single club we have top quality strikers.
And in terms of just a little bit more on the team news, Arsene, with Danny Welbeck playing for the under-21s, what do you expect his involvement to be in that game, and what does that mean for a return if he comes through it?
I believe that he needs to play 2-3 games before thinking to come back into the first team. He hasn't played for 10 months basically, and so we need to be a bit patient with him. I think he has a good basic fitness, but after it's about competitiveness, decision making, and he has to get used to that again.
Don't have that under-21 fixed list in front of me, but how long would it take to fit in 2 or 3 games with them in terms of getting...
Well, we can organise as well games internally, you know, without being official games, but I think in the next 3 weeks he should be available.
On Thomas, bearing in mind his age, his contract situation and the problem that he's had with injury, people are wondering if he might have played his last game for the club. Sad as that might be to admit at this point, is that realistic? A realistic assessment?
I hope not, because his injury is quite a serious one, muscular injury. The good news we have is that apparently he will not need surgery. It's a partial rupture of his tendon, but how long does it take? 2 months to 3 months? We don't know. At the moment we are all of course shocked, and he's the most shocked, and we have to be patient and hope that it was not his last game.
But it could be.
I don't want to be dramatic, because he suffers enough at the moment, you know, and I'm more in a support attitude than in anything dramatic.
In terms of title race, how many teams are in it at this point, in your opinion?
I didn't really look at the table, because we are, you can say many, 5, 6. Makes it interesting for you and for us, even if we would love it to be a bit less interesting, but it is the case. We have to deal with that, and but it will be yes, 5, 6 teams are in it.
So Manchester United in 5th, 10 points behind the leaders, they're in it.
Yeah.
6th place West Ham, 1 point behind, they're in it.
Mathematically, yes.
Realistically?
I don't really know.
What would be a good result for
I
Arsenal?
don't know if your mathematics are realistic.
What would be a good result for Arsenal in the Manchester City-Leicester game this weekend?
I don't know. I believe that we are in a position where we have to come back first, us, to win the games. You know, what we don't do at the moment. We have to look at the facts as they are. We haven't won for 3 games, and 4 even. And so overall, we want to come back to winning. And before we look at the results of the others, look at yourself. And come back to what you want to do is to win your next game.
How do you affect the psychology in terms of not letting it slip into players' minds that we're going through this period where sometimes we fall off, let's not do it again? How do you protect from that?
Look, I can see where you get you thinking of from, because usually we finish quite strong in the second part of the season, and but every season is special, and we have gone through a bad patch, and I think to fight for the Premiership you have to be capable to deal with that. And if you say, for example, we are at point level with Tottenham, you would say that Tottenham is in the race for the Championship. We are in it as well. So we have to be as pragmatic as possible and think about the next game.
Is it a strange concept that Tottenham are in the title race?
No, why? Since I'm here, they're always top teams, Tottenham, always.
They've never finished above Arsenal in the league in your time, which I know you'll be proud of, to have that over your local rivals. Is this season a particular threat for that record?
It's every season a threat. Well, it was every season a threat. In some seasons we got above them in the last game of the season. So, but honestly, I'm not obsessed by that. What my obsession is that we perform well and focus to beat everybody else.
And just a quick thought finally from me on Pep Guardiola coming here, which was confirmed this week. Two points on that. One, he was often seen as a potential successor for you at whatever point you moved on in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's less likely by the fact he's gone to a Premier League team? And secondly, do you think he might be in for a shock? Might his win percentage drop? Because when you're at Barcelona, you can go and win at Eibar and Granada most weeks. At Bayern Munich, you can do it at Augsburg and Hamburg. You can't really do that in the Premier League and take those sorts of wins for granted, can you?
Well, to answer the first question, I said many times that I will not choose my successor here, and I just want to leave the club in a position where he can do better when I've gone. And the second, if you look at the tendency and the trend in the Premier League now, of course, it looks difficult to have a high percentage of winning games for everybody. Yes, the Premier League is now at the moment maybe more difficult to be consistent than any other league.
What do you feel, Arsene, about playing Bournemouth in the league for the second time in 5 weeks? It's something that wouldn't happen in a different league like La Liga, where you play 19 matches and then the calendar flips and you play exactly the same 19 teams again.
Yes, but I like as well the Premier League is a bit special on that front, and it's part of it, and I'm used to it now, so it doesn't shock me. If I had come from France last year, yes, I would be shocked, but now I'm used to it and I find it normal.
Will Bournemouth stay up, in your opinion?
Yes. I always said that since the start of the season, when I saw them play. They have enough substance in their game to stay up.
There's going to be a get-together of England players, obviously several from Arsenal next week. Is that something you're in support of next week?
Yes, of course. I gave my approval. I want England to prepare well for the European Championship, and I've given my approval for that.
Arsene, earlier you spoke about managing the psychology of the squad during this period of games when you haven't won. As a manager looking on the pitch, can you put your finger on what has been the issue of the last 3 or 4 games?
We didn't score.
Why aren't you scoring enough goals then?
Look, we played at Stoke, we played 0-0, what was not a shame, because Stoke is quite strong at home, and against Chelsea we played with 10 men, and that makes a game against a good side very difficult. And against Southampton we created the chances, and we couldn't finish them off. So I believe overall we have not to be alarmist, because the quality of our performances was there in every single game, you know, and we should take a lot of encouragement from that, even if sometimes in the recent games we didn't get the result we wanted.
One of the other things as well, I don't know if you've seen Paul Merson's comments about you not signing a striker during the window. He said it's a mistake on your part. Well, how do you respond to that?
Well, I have to accept that everybody can have different opinions, and but you cannot, on one side, praise the quality of our strikers, and on the other hand say it is a mistake that we have not bought any strikers. We have Sanchez, we have Walcott, we have Giroud, we have Welbeck, and I can't see any stronger striker being on the market in the January transfer window.
And you've talked about Spurs being above you in the league. From a fan's point of view as well, how important is it that as a club and as a squad of players and as fans that you don't sort of collectively hit the panic button here at this time of the season?
But you should what?
Hit the panic button in terms of Spurs being ahead of you and the fact that you've not won in about 4 games as well. We have to believe in what we do. I would just to reassure you, we do not try to go down. You know, we have 45 points, and if we panic in the position we are in, we have nothing to do in our job.
Arsene, can I ask you about China and the transfers, the big money transfers that have gone off to China? Should the Premier League be worried about the drain of European talent to China?
Yes, of course.
Why?
Because China has looks to have the financial power to move a whole league of Europe to China, and we know all. We are long enough in this job to know that is just a consequence of economical power, and they have that. Will they sustain their desire to do it? Because let's remember, a few years ago, Japan started to do it, and they slowed down after. But I don't know how deep the desire in China is. But if it's a very strong political desire, we should worry.
And could it really inflate transfer prices to such an extent that some Premier League clubs may be almost priced out of the best players?
Yes, it could. But I believe that anyway, the inflation is on our doors. With the next TV deal, the summer will be move up again in transfer prices. I'm sure that soon the 100 million target will be easy to reach.
Can I ask you about starting games? Do you feel that the Arsenal have started games as quickly as they should have done recently?
No.
And again, why?
Well, because I felt that we were a bit nervous in the last 2 home games against Chelsea and against Southampton. It didn't come off the block as we would have liked. Yes, I agree with you.
Arsene, just on Benik, why do you think it didn't work out for him here?
He was very young. He had big competition in front of him. You know, he had Van Persie, players like that in front of him, and so I gave him the authorization to go somewhere and play. What he did, and overall, you educate people to influence their lives and to give them success, and that's what we do. When they do not manage to play for us, if they can play somewhere else, we are of course very happy for them, because I believe Benik has done extremely well, and even beyond expectations of many people, and that's great, and it's down to him, and congratulations to him.
You mentioned the new TV deal coming in the summer. Some of the fans, the Arsenal fans, are a bit unhappy about the ticket price situation.
It's not a question really for Arsenal.
Well, on a wider point then, the £8 billion deal is going to come in. Do the clubs have a responsibility as a whole to make sure that some of that money is redistributed towards lowering ticket prices in the future?
Well distributed. We are a company who, when you have on one side people want you to buy more players, what will happen is that the prices of the players will go up, and that you will need this money, the supplement of money coming in to buy new players. So I believe that the pressure on spending the money will become bigger, and you cannot necessarily distribute the money to other people. What we do, we stabilize our prices to give access to our supporters, of course, and we stabilized now for many years.
Arsene, just the final one on this weekend marks 1 month since Zinedine Zidane took over at Real Madrid. Given your experience of players making that jump into management, how do you foresee him taking that step?
Well, first of all, 1 month is a very short period to assess the performance of a manager, and he was given a chance, and that's what he wanted, and I wish him all the success he deserves. But you know how it is at Real Madrid. You need to win every single game, and we are in a fight with Barcelona, who at the moment is flying, and I hope it will go well for him.
Okay, guys, we're coming in.